When you were a kid, you started playing soccer. Your coach, I guess, took you down to a gym to train for soccer, and you fell in love with barbells.
I had this need of being somebody. I grew up in this little town in Austria, in Thal, and it was after the Second World War. It was miserable. There was, starvation. There was people were angry because they just lost the war, and there was the frustration, alcoholism, and all of those things. So it was a tough life. But so I was determined, I'm going to get out of there, and no matter what it takes. And so I just happened to fall in love with bodybuilding.
When you would say to your father and mother, I'm going to get out of here, I'm going to go to the United States, I'm going to be the #1 bodybuilder in the world, did they think you were the biggest jerk on the planet? Did they say, look, you're a nobody?
My parents, really loved me, but they thought I was totally ill, mentally ill.
Right.
They thought that there's something off. My mother went many times to our house doctor and complained to him. He says, there's something off with our son. You better study him a little bit here, because he comes home for lunch, and then he does 250 sit-ups instead of eating lunch.
Right.
Then on the way back to school, he then quickly eats. He says, and then he comes home at 10 o'clock at night. He works at 2 hours down in the gym. And then look at this wall here in his bedroom. I mean, look at all his pictures of naked men hanging
right.
there. And all his friends have, pictures of women. Should we be concerned about that also? I mean, there's this guy's 15 years old, and there's all these naked men. I mean, I'm just all bodybuilding champions and boxers, right? So she called them naked men.
How did you know how did you get expert advice on bodybuilding? I mean, a lot of people work at it. They can pump iron all day, and they really don't see any growth. They don't kind of know what they do. They get injured quickly. How do you know how to do that to the point where you become world champion?
Well, because I was so hungry, so therefore every magazine that I could get a hold of, I bought. And then I had this whole library of magazines at home, old ones, newer ones, and old books on physical culture. And I read all this stuff and studied it carefully. And then I used my body kind of as an experiment, basically, because I would do a certain exercise, 40 reps, 40 times.
Right.
So to know where will I be sore the next day, and then I would write it down, because I wouldn't believe just what the magazine says, because everyone needs a different training. So I followed Reg Park's training, who was the Mr. Universe 3 times, and it was in Hercules movies. So I followed his routine, but I wanted to know exactly what works for me. So slowly but surely, I dissected the body and I studied very carefully, and I figured out all of the exercises that I needed to do in order to be the best.
It became a science for you.
Totally science, yes.
Was it a lonely life? Because, first of all, how many friends can you find? There's some guys in the gym are maniacs at that, but it really seems to me like a lonely boy's existence, like going to the gym, constantly worrying about what you're eating, making sure that you figure out the right training. It seems so solitary, right?
It was, in a way, but I mean, I had such joy, and I was so happy when I went to the gym. You have to imagine this is a boy that maybe never got a compliment, really, because it's not common in Austria for people to say, like in America, oh, you did really well in this soccer game, even though you tripped before you shot the goal,
Yeah, right.
but you did your best. You did your best, Arnold. Don't worry about any. No, there's no such thing.
Are Austrians
in Austria, they say, you idiot, you tripped over your own feet, and this can never happen again, otherwise I never take you to the soccer practice, okay? You embarrassed me. You're an embarrassment. So
it's
this is
almost
the kind
like
of
a shaming. It's almost like everyone has a mass psychology of being downtrodden.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to bring you down with me.
Absolutely. So now here, this guy that gets, kind of always ridiculed like that and attacked by the parents, and they're very critical, even though, like I said, they loved me. But when I went to the gym, all of a sudden the guys were saying, I can't believe this. You've been here for 3 months and you're bench pressing already 185 pounds. You know something? You have unbelievable talent. And look at your biceps. They're popping out already. And your calves. This is, we should put you on a weightlifting club and then the weightlifting team, and you should become one of our lifters. And then all of a sudden, with the age of 16, I was already competing in weightlifting, and they took me from village to village competing in weightlifting, and I got all the kind of compliments. And so this is what built my confidence.